you know, social, social.
Jazzman John!
Shut up.
Behave yourself, Sylvia, and sit down.
I've had a drink.
Have a drink.
You know, young people. Just work towards that.
Immature.
1, 1, 2. Buckle my shoe.
Oh, you want to.
New cross. I'll do the easy one first, but it's just as long as the other one, so it doesn't matter. It's called New Cross.
Hey.
The Devil's Island of southeast London. Always hustling, trying to survive on an out-of-date travel card, a packet of impoverished Rizzlers, and tinny personal stereo. Ah, but the devil, as always, looks after its own. When the Old Kent Road gives up the ghost, there lies the ravages and rust of New Cross. Destinations are inevitable, but how do you find them when no maps of the area exist? Someone's already had trouble getting here tonight, I know. Where blood's extruded from lifeless bodies and chalk is the colour of my true love's stare. Drowsy Cafe Crema. I wrote this 12 years ago, so some of these places aren't there, but not much changes in New Cross. Drowsy Cafe Crema looks positively threatening with its gunmetal shutter rammed down in daylight. So violent is the daub graffiti, overlooking the main road with its horny flow of traffic. The library opens on alternate days. Iceland never seems to shut. Side roads contain nothing but shades of empty sadness, bordering on the loveless, festooned with cheap digs and anonymous parked vehicles. Funkily dressed students and sombre musos ferry guitar cases for sound checks, headed for Music City. An early sesh at the New Cross Inn, Amersham Arms, the Montague, Goldsmith's Tavern or the College Bar, or gigs in the wide world beyond SE14. Others pull off the free bus. You remember the free bus? Used to be the windy bus. Two to choose from in New Cross. A trumpeter acquaintance calls them the performing artist chauffeur, ever popular and 24-hour. In a city that boasts about supporting grassroots culture, then mostly shits on the vast body of those who speed the pulse beyond caring, only to be innovated, innovated on a daily basis. I'll tell you when you've got to get out your dictionary, because there's some big words coming up. Halloween approaches.
Get you.
Halloween approaches, so camp witches and ghouls, along with heavily made-up Frankenfurter figure clad in fishnets and sussies, adorns the windows of Rubbish Fairy, where the owner told me she was expecting, which makes a welcome change, for the one thing you really miss in New Cross is that redeeming air of expectation. She once gave me a £5 for a pair of pale blue 70s Adidas waterproof trainer bottoms. True. Be quiet in the front there. I can see what's attracted your attention. Yeah. Here come the big words. New Cross, anemic, analeptic, life-enhancing, where even beneath that scaly scutter of the venue, there's another venue sprouting through the floorboards. London's like that. Below the surface, always something worthwhile occurring. Haven't you heard? Someone has scrawled by a block of peeling posters. New Cross, yeah, New Cross is the new Seattle, don't you know? I'm going to need a glass of wine when I go back. So this is something I wrote on a Sunday morning in the kitchen.
You are a bugger. You were meant to do the one that I like the best when you jump.
It's just going to come.
Go on then.
All right. Don't spoil the dramatic impulse and, you know, air of presentation. So it's called Messages from Drunken Blowflies, and I always thought I'd put ... after blowflies, but it's not in. Anyway. I fly through sandstorms of rainbows, beating with red-hot pokers of words, hurl from the poet's turrets of burnt-out castles onto the cracked lips of passing camel trains. I find my brains in a bag of lost belongings, parading round a carousel of foreign holidays, sun-kissed as ancient ruins, floating on islands of heartbeats. Or wet as the unpressed creases of eggshells on a broken warning where language sleepwalks through overhead skies, choked with the dust-laden wings of angels. I disappear into childhood gardens where mist traps the bleached undergrowth, like a ferret in a runaway rabbit hole looking for fragments of Rose-Saber nursery rhyme. I haunt the dried-up riverbeds of my trackless memory where drunken blowflies tap out reckless messages toward the gnarled claws of star-ravaged mountains. Wait for it. Everybody's talking about the Plastic Ono Band making a comeback on the third moon of Orion, on the bed of Gandhi, on the 35th floor of the Calcutta Hyatt Hilton, as servants ferried in fleets of stretch limos go in search of goat's milk and organic ghee in the foothills of Bangalore. As the frozen frosts of rainbows play a selection of unbroken horn and drum solos, I hammer into a wall composed of the puffed-up eyes of alligators, wipe my brow with a Hermes silk scarf, carved from the stripped-down inner tubes of dead bicycles where babies fall head first into the isolated drop zones of basketball-playing paratroops. As the shrapnel of broken hearts, it's supposed to be serious, and echoes through a screaming fandango of aging foxholes, I take off through sandstorms of rainbows, beating with red-hot pokers of words, dripping worthless syllables, hurl from the turrets of burnt-out castles onto the cracked lips of passing camel trains, camel trains, camel trains. That's where I usually fall bollocks over backwards. Thanks very much.
Well done, Jazzman. I'm going to read mine now, like, just to get it over with, so that I don't
when you
panic.
first open the calendar, when's the first day?
And then I think Simon.
Today, isn't it?
Already, he's already.
Right, all done.
I don't know how many of these are read. Oh shit, glasses. First rose priests who hoard the corn and famine, whose laws restrict, punish, shame, create and heaven. Bishops are pimps, oily renters, bounders, boundering, fucking fuckers, liars, deniers, shitting shitters, sick plot. Who burn print, wage or labour, clock our enemy, time your very life. Now this is money, O prophet. This is just a start of a poem, I think. It's called Heads and Horses so far. Let them roll, roll their heads. They love rolls and their aristo rolls. Their finery, oh dressage, oh polo, oh horses and lands. Who own Cornwall and gentleman's relish. Did Lady Bountiful have a ball? A delightful dress made of bombs and legs of boys. Lady Gaga, you missed a trick. A fox feels nothing. Wear them alive, quivering in fear. Thunderbirds are go on their manners. They will find their land in a very special brew. Unhorsed, their whips on them, the real insentient.
Hey.
These are George Osborne's Tears ones that seem very relevant at the moment. Remember George Osborne crying at Thatcher's funeral? Yeah. That made me pissed off. And at the same time, like there were people squashed, you know, like making Primark clothes under a factory. Right? So yeah, I'm a bit angry about that. So there's two George Osborne's too.
Quick toot of your horn now.
What?
Quick toot of your horn. Okay, relics.
I got it. George Osborne's Tear. BBC Views. God save the Queen and the Duchess of Cambridge tits. Mark it St George's Day, mark it its fest. Do you buy 60 t-shirts before breakfast? And under the rubble they scream. George Osborne's tear, and their bare hands, a tower lies dead, it's bloody. Sewing machines and human limbs. You are squeezed middle, you George Osborne's tear, you parade, you Duchess of Cambridge tits, shoulders heave for it and Vera Lynn. St George's Tear Day, 161 t-shirts are confirmed dead and a lovely tower. Go fuck yourself, you Vera Lynn, you celebration. You are St George's Day Tear Day massacre, 1 million poppies on your grave. George Osborne's Tear 2. God, I don't know if it's any good. Let it roll, let it on, 99 pence a puffy paw. Oh, how you are offended, and dissent was an absence broadcast. How sweet our 1980s come again, and the long queues in the post office pay tribute. But where has it gone, post office? In uncoded terms, she grabbed the bishop's wrist and found it fattening, and on it rolled, remembering how he could but dream to damn so many lives, though he was so willing. And in hell she shut down the furnaces and flooded the pits, and on it rolled a boastful dampness, for it was manful to be one of iron. And these are just kind of silly. A bit funnier, I hope. I don't think I'll do the intelligent life ones.
Go on, do it, Sharon.
God, what, all of them?
Yeah, go for it.
These are kind of silly relief ones, I think. I was hoping for a beautiful stranger. Your eyes are lighting on each other, but briefly. But you said it was just after tired commuters who fought to get off of a train, to fight forward to work that meant nothing. Was the estate agent surly, not surplus to value? Was the banker not a prat? And I'd asked for a beautiful stranger, and I got hit in the head with a rucksack. The cunt. Valentine. There are roses are red and violets are violent. Roses have prickles and violets have horns. Lilacs are mean, buglias betch. Poppies are tripping, daffodils hurl. Pansies are dangerous while buttercups churn. That's silly. Really, do you want intelligent life things as well?
Just the one you did for the Nikos Commoners publication.
I can't remember which one that was.
You don't know what a fire engine is anymore, that one.
God. Well, there's only 2 left anyway. They're all small anyway, really. I might as well just finish them, I suppose. Intelligent Life 2, this one is. My series got to 2 because I'm so hard working. Is your intellect subsidised, and who are the consequences? Who are uncritical? Who are disastrous consequences of a system? I do not think I can be sustained. I am surplus. Are you surplus? Are you sustenance? I don't know what you are talking about. There is no such thing as a fire station. Hospital, is that where they are gathering? Hand me a sharp critique. No, make that a hammer. Are you lying to our faces? Is your very big house subsidised? Is my little room surplus? I had some things in there and people stayed. I have since lost all of the things and the people were surplus.
Hey.
Well, that's it, yeah. There's just one more Intelligent Life 1. Come on, Si.
Intelligent life. Oh my
Hang on.
God.
Where are we supposed to see that?
Simon!
Someone's got to take some photographs of this, I hope they are.
I I think Lidhka's filming.
Oh, Lidhka's filming it.
God help me. Does it look good?
Can it go to portrait? If you see what I mean.
Hiya, I'm Fanny Cox,
Yes, leave me alone.
and this is something I made earlier.
Trying to be loud, isn't it?
Pints of bitter, 2 pints of lager, a shot of sambuca, and half a cider. I said, a pint of bitter, 2 pints of lager, a shot of sambuca, and half a cider. Have you got any pork scratchings? I'll have a couple of packets of cheese and onion, a bag of nuts, and whatever you're having. Yeah, that's right, whatever you're having. Thanks a lot, my love. Cheers. Pissed again, no change there then. Rat-arsed again, no change there then. Blankered again, no change there then. Plastered again, no change there then. Right, whose round is it? Who's getting in? Is it your shout? Who's going to the bar? I said, who's going to the bloody bar? Come on, get off your arse and get to the bar. Ooh, that's a bit cheeky. Ooh, that's a bit saucy. Ooh, that's a bit naughty. Ooh, that's a bit fruity. Ladies and gents, it's time for a little song. Okay, ladies and gents, it's the part of the show where I'm gonna need your help. And if you can all sing with me, time with the rhythm. Down in one. Goes like this. Down in one. 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 Keep it going.
Down in one, 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 down in one. You're shit. Down in one, down in one, down in three, down in three.
Thank you very much. I've been Fanny Cox. You've been a fucking dream.
It's a Granby always. White lights out, red lights in, red lights out, white lights in, white lights in, red lights in. Mesmerising metronome of the city. An A2 artery pulsing at the apex, in and out, out and in, all the flotsam and jetsam, and for the guise of those who wear their own crowns, when we speak our own sounds, police sirens and vowels chide this blessed begotten place where we hide together through the maelstrom of our lives and remembering. Just one other short one to go. And this is, again, Sharon chose it. It's called, it's a post-apocalyptic view of New Cross, I suppose. It's called Jerningham Road Will Be. Jerningham Road on Telegraph Hill will be the place for me if I win the lottery, or if the Thames floods like it always threatens to do. And New Cross Gate Station will become a harbour for a canal that will allow us to float out and visit our other mates in the area, and even our mates in North London, if we dare to venture across the wider river. That's to, yeah, that's it.
And all the way from Brighton.
Hello. Okay, I haven't decided, but I've been trying to decide what to do all day. I've got one glove and 2 books. So, do we go with an oldie that's like a bit of a banger? Or do we go for some new uncertain things?
Banger.
Banger.
Yeah.
I need a decisive answer. Frances Crook sent us some amulets in the post. When she was last here in Brighton, I found this. I was on the phone to her and sort of trying to work out how to tell her where we were, because it's kind of a weird place, and then I suddenly saw this hand on the floor and yeah, it got posted back to me. Ungrateful fucker. Alright, so I'm going to read a bit of this book. I'm going to read the end of this book, Gideon, so then you'll know what happens. From where I'm reading from, like the storyline, this last section is called Iris, and the storyline is kind of about, I sort of stole it from real life and sort of plagiarised it, I guess. It's when I was working in this charity call centre, and I was working on my own one day, and I dismantled my manager's ergonomic office chair and left it in a little heap. It was so fucking futile. But Sharon was mentioning George Osborne's tear, and in the future that this imagines, Margaret Thatcher was crying at George Osborne's funeral. Why was I thinking that under the massive gold Callisti sing-along when I should have been aware of the gravity of the situation and not thinking about George? He gets a blowjob for each initiate. It's the late 60s and you're writing for Playboy. Everyone gets one. But it's still of little use to say nothing. Moo Moo pre-exists George, but not Playboy. I'm still thinking about that now, under the sun, and it is my right to do it, because it's my right to do whatever the fuck I like. Remember the bean fields. Now come in from 2010, my dear, reflecting this, every part, each of eyes, use each, traffic is abstracted power. Use that, it's the best I can abstract power, then maybe we can just hold off, but the traffic scoop providing us what a sound it was underneath the glass bridge. What? No, it heard it. Net current assets have reduced to £1.3 million at the balance sheet date 2010, 1.4 million. The main asset of the charity is cash at the bank, reckoned on the cusp of the year, cooking out. Now, come down, kiss my stomach. No, my actual stomach. Not the skin on top of it. Prise apart the skin and kiss my stomach. Suck through it. The wick, Mary called, the birds. Carl Holberger, oh, with a snapper here, it's tapping the rivet. Now, tether, both are, no, just tether me, teeth a bit. No, just use what you need. Oh, my Iris, my life is so boring. Could I be in the middle of a significant historical moment at least once in my life? Push me into myself. Bend me forward over myself. Tie my hands and ankles to a wooden frame before the ascendancy. We went down into the pool of snakes in the middle of a historical moment at some point in my life. I can hear her fucked up muffled screams through the wall. I can have lustily been of those we have killed. For their hollow hearts all empathy abandoned. Creditors amounts full. Decry scrap use. 1 year which stood at £1.6 million at the balance sheet date and was offset by a reduction in debtors from 0.7 million to 0.2 million, nominally due to decreased payments and birds. But before the ascendancy, we went down into the pool of snakes, where we deserted ourselves, we designed purge funds, we knocked and brought forward, where we now consider the field of our vision trippy, so totally stuck. What promise little is there have you? Fully formed creatures in the belly were paid out at the year end. And George, we are still, even now, unable, after all, 33, cut the throat under the mudguard on the wheel, under his chair, and once the throat is out of the wheel, lovingly dismantle the chair, thoughtfully await for his unconscious good blood nullity surpassed by transcendence. Do that to his chair. File it under bent, fuck, double, in. Come on, ha, then wheel it over to a place neglected by wolves. Show your manager to the lack of wolves there. Show him the operative dexterity of your gender in the ambition to have his hair flayed in the stocks under the general area managerial promise. I did my best, and my best was always 4% below target. The target to be, and be better. Details, details. Your preferred terms, your position on toilet breaks, your sexual and gender identity, and for that reason the chair and I will be forever left hoping to transcend something else. Birds are mocked at disassembly. Chairs are mocked at disassembly, so is the octopus, and the mussel, and the yellowtail, and the substance of traction oil, and I could have been a back in a gas bulb, I could have been his laptop. What have you made in your life? Constructed to be put at large into the rendition of its power. Men are very funny, lining up one by one to be brilliant in speeches, and that is what they are. They are very, very funny.
I love
Heads over the harbour lights because they are so full. The men in the lights and in their planning, I can feel their speeches. And the voiceover pilloried in the speaker on the inside of my stomach, the office toilet wall that says, "You freak." They are so funny. When one says to the next, "What's happened in your life, my man, is you've created something." And without bragging, you become humble and funny and peaked, and you just keep peaking. I would want to suck on you all and suck his harmless spectral shape out of my own teeth. He is there on the outside of my digestion. His face is staring out, covered by my skin. I like you. I've come out 4% below my claim that the chairs in this room can no longer hold on to your heroic back. Kill everyone on Warren Street. Piss on their furniture and children. Have their children sexually assault you. It's what they do best. now that Hadron Pulsar under the motto Canis Carnem Ecce Thump resolves to do and do better, to be willing to, or to have displaced and dispatched by decree and in separate parts, George Osborne. This, as my body, at least, is unmanageable.
Who's ready? Ninnies, get ready. Yeah, well, just get it out then, you lazy bastards.
It came in just the right, yeah.
Harry, I bet Harry is ready for his...
I wasn't clear what.
For God's sakes! Come on then, who's up next? Jessica? Who's got something ready? You lazy bunch of bastards. I can't believe it. I asked you to do a costume. Right. Give it. No.
I come from the summer.
I was going to say, is it a bit of a climate? When did you get here? When did you get back?
24 hours ago.
Shit, right, okay.
Maybe just got here. Is this
Yes,
It's random.
Really might,
Just
I
go within your rest.
don't think we need to.
I'll wait for a bit.
But it's really cool rubbish.
Yeah. Hello? No? Yeah? Okay.
Stand away from the microphone.
No. Yeah. Okay. Hello.
Hi.
I'm very happy to be back. I wrote this in near the equator in Colombia, and it's after these fish that are called boca chicos, and they're quite small, but they're everywhere, all over the place, and people eat them a lot. Yeah, they're very nice. It's called To Multiple. Close to the equator, sweating as you do, my walking doesn't make much noise, but I can hear it, the snap, electric, like a thought that turns my leg into a baton, makes it hard, hold, impede, freezes the kinetic marble, and I stumble, make a scene, think less of it, kick it, syllogism, circled in red. So many times the aim was blurred, the error remains unknown, just red, calling on the little Boca Chico doesn't know. It is displayed in a pile at the stall, an object, manifestation of color and size, a prize. When the cycle is stowed, does it also stop? All the tourists want a picture with it, of it, how picturesque. I will also eat it later, fried, baked. I will pull a bone from my mouth, why not? There are too many. It is what keeps us all going, how multiple, forgetful even. Sometimes the wind is in your favor and blows your t-shirt from behind. Someone said the wind in its all directions, always in someone's t-shirt, blowing. But just a hot and fishy breeze sticks mine onto my skin, comes from multiple directions. This is a peninsula, the land at my back, it rains in breeze of awe. The rest is the setting, all that daytime racket turning to the elements, the stage visible, the rush and crawling is now contemplation, breaststrokes. You can get the whole picture, you are sort of liminal like your phone. Close to the equator, Libras, Solidus, and Denarius are just pesos here. The exchange is not lineal but multiple, works in some calculators. To keep going is to keep pressing buttons, materializing symbols, but how when fingers are thought, crackling twigs in fear of a lack of inscription that can only be called on. Remember, I snap electric, it is sick, but I saw a pretty green silvery pearl shine and thought of you. It all stopped and I thought of you, your wacky patterns, your zips, you are going to love it and me and you because of me. The emptiness pursues us but feels safe in your hands. A leg can also just want to say hi back. Perhaps it was just an accident and we'd say hi back in exchange. Not a level transaction but a salute to think the stage can become tower blocks. The liminal can be crashed just for the one bill who says hi from its 7th floor. Two ways keep coming back, looking one after another. Rocks are giving away some density, losing bit by bit a volume that is swallowed back and pushed under there. The setting allows coral and algae and little Boca Chico to swim in the swamps, eating away its detritus in the dark. The sun is not everywhere. Now it might be in New Zealand. The Boca Chicos take their turn to run in a group up the river. In the rainy season, when water pours down indistinctly, their eggs will flow back down to the swamps there, close to the equator. I can hear them popping. That's
This is our calendar. We've opened the bus window today. And Richard Parker's got copies. I don't know if it'll fit on here. It might be.
What's today's then?
The bus. And it's quite a good collage, although I do say so myself.
You can read out today's.
Yeah,
So if you want any, Parker's got some of them.
Open
And he needs
today.
to give me
Come on,
some.
give us the first.
What is the bird? What's it say?
Read it.
Oh, it's just part of one of the fucking poems I read. I think it's a bit boring. But
Does it get better as it goes along?
yeah, of course it does. And he's done one, and you have to guess which one it is. And obviously it's the crappiest one. Oh shit! That failed. So it's just like one of those, the first of those poems. First rose priests who wore the corn and famine. It's just a part of the poem.
Sharon, you should sell stuff for a living.
Yeah, because I'm really entrepreneurial. Sylvia, how about doing a couple of
No, I think
the batch of test ones? Oh, are the Ninnies ready?
Yeah, they're ready.
Way! The Ninnies!
Good luck.
Oh my god.
Oh my fucking god. They were class came to a jam. So sad of it.
Good King Stephen last looked out.
In the assaults, it doesn't matter.
Here in the line we do poetry by numbers.
Burn them.
And
Say
save the best for we in the shore. His female breasts low and raffish.
He is as goldfish.
I do so heart the genty wren.
Look at my dead, misspelled horse.
No, literally. One who looks at birds.
Auspice, no.
No, literally, one who looks at birds.
No, literally. I do so heart the leitmotif.
Tyranny mocks thee, muscle man.
Sudden voice. Among the weeds.
Or idle oddity.
Don't need no beads. You self-bow.
I am Sir Thomas Pipps.
In a countryman's smock frock.
Correction. A constant reader in such an easy and simple dress.
Their bosoms beat free, accompanying scuss.
And the pendant guts.
Omitted thus. Verification.
Smart hand.
Verification!
But of like writ in the margent.
And some foolish fellow.
Who? We ought not to speak.
Some in Warden much love doth feign.
Thus, worders for worders, in worders remain.
In the forests of the Tyne and Weir.
Who I love is.
John.
Now that I'm 35.
26.
And it's not.
Anne Boleyn fucking up my 9 line.
With your whole heart.
But a poem, well done.
For a ploughman.
Or a furrow that is straight.
For a poet.
Either way. It's stretching my ribs and small fallen limbs and
Burning! My head full of smell. My nostrils smelt your head on my moustache.
Surely you'll be reading Bird.
like when and I are back in London and
We'll just gather some peeps and...
Unlike Goldilocks, I never was.
Never was.
the brilliant poets in Britain arsely visited on the blighted spikes.
I know. I flipped the original through 90 degrees.
In February, my small fallen limb
And head moustache.
Float, moat like in the sunbeam.
I mounted Sir Fenwick's Sir Real Pony.
and he came to
suddenly arrested by a longitudinal stripe.
By the sight of the existing one.
Did you draw the lines yourself? Or are they shop bought? I didn't win either.
Not
with the lines.
But who did not set out in straight lines?
I never.
I done with everything nearly.
I could have been a grunter's gilly, wending home about sunset.
After sunset fadeth, I mounted Sir Fenwick's serial poesy.
And he came to.
White bird of the morning, white bird, white bird, white bird, white bird, white bird of the morning, white bird, 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 white bird.
Basically a free-for-all, like if anybody wants to read, come up and read, I think that's the idea, isn't it? Anybody that hasn't read already, I mean.
Go on, Sylvie, do the Char Lady one.
Oh, right.
And your Iraqi one.
Yeah, go on. Go on, Sylv.
All right.
Show us some new cross. Nonsense.
Unlike the rest of you, I loved Margaret Thatcher. I thought she was fucking wonderful. So I wrote this ode to her. Rusting piss, I made you. Now you're turning in your grave. Your legacy will be stolen milk from the kids. The right to buy your council place so that other people can't get in. Now you're turning in your grave. Wet, wet, wet. And I had a mother-in-law once and she was from Deptford, a big family, and she told me that Lewisham College was set up to train people for certain jobs. So this is why I wrote this one. It's called In Service. The underclass was sent to college to learn how to be servants to the upper class. For those that were willing to pay, those were the days. In Edwardian times. A century on, In service means to meet sexual needs of those that are willing to pay. So does the colloquial vernacular term scrubber, brass come from the same sort of thing? If you are of the underclass, or if you're male and have a need to feed a habit, you can always sell your arse.